Hello everybody, it is KewlImp and I am back once again with another video. This time, I'm going to tell you why I've had such an increase in production on my videos. So, Kingdom Hearts... Jeez, hold on one second. Let me move this to right there. Okay. I feel weird not looking at myself as I do this. As we continue on to Kingdom Hearts 3, which is released in less than 90 days... One of the things that I really wanted to do is challenge myself as someone who makes YouTube videos, although not very popular, but I like them. And more so because I want to do something that I think is just something to do, a challenge for myself. Something more than just what everyone else is doing. So, for the next how many ever days till January 29th, I'm going to be producing a video a day. Even if it's low quality like this one, because it's just going to be me talking to the camera with my glasses off, looking at you straight on, like I'm a crazy person. I am a little bit, but you don't have to worry about that. With that said, today I want to answer something that got brought up a while ago in other videos. All the big guys did this a while ago. Is the Master of Masters an evil person? That's today's video. So, the Master of Masters comes off as a cheerful nihilist to me. Not evil, a cheerful nihilist. And this has to do with the most stupid thing that they brought into this game, and that's time travel. So, they kind of have a self-creating loop. I don't think it's a proper paradox, but it's a self-creating loop that they think they've explained, just explained away by saying destiny is kind of foretold. You always go around in the same circles over and over again. There is no stopping fate. I did not mute that as I intended to. I apologize. So, the question is it? So, we only know this from one loop of time. The proposed time that Xehanort says exists, and the Master of Masters has written about. And that is the loop we're currently on. Now, the Master of Masters has no name. And I did a video about no name, I think a few months ago, and I was talking about, I think that it's going to be shattered at the end of August 1st, by the way. If you want to do that, it's just called The Fate of No Name. A very good video. I liked it a lot. But I don't think the Master of Masters knew about time travel until he was, I'm going to call it reviewing what No Name had seen, and seen that Xehanort had discovered through the Book of Prophecies that you can time travel and these are the rules. But I don't think the Master of Masters knew those rules until he saw Xehanort explain the rules. So to me, and I might be reading too far into this, by the way. To me, that says you have a loop of the Master of Masters only knowing about the quote-unquote rules of time travel because Xehanort knows about the rules of time travel, because the Master of Masters knew about the rules of time travel that he learned from Xehanort, who learned it from the Book of Prophecies written by the Master of Masters. And you see how this goes on and on and on ad infinitum. For infinity, this is a circle that happens, that the rules are explained by Xehanort to basically us, the audience. He's explaining it to the characters in the game, but it's basically for us. To add convolution upon convolution, of course, but whatever. But when we take a look at it, let's be honest. That loop is created somewhere. And we don't know where it begins and how many loops of time No Name has gone through and seen. And I don't think the Master of Masters had any real concept of time travel till he saw Xehanort do it. Xehanort do it in the review of No Name's. Well, we'll call it Memory. And that's something that's a very interesting conversation. And when we talk about if the Masters of Masters is evil, we have to come back to this point. He sees time as a fixed linear progression. Xehanort travels back to the past to tell himself, hey, take over this body. Xehanort travels to the past, to the future, to say, hey, Riku, I want your body. He takes a look into the future and sees what's going to happen, and he knows it's going to happen, so he continues on the path he set forth for himself. And this is a repetitious action, and from the view, I'm putting the emphasis here, from the view of the Master of Masters, what you find is he sees the same loop happening over and over again. Therefore, time seems to be fixed. Therefore, no one can change the future. He's sitting there joking with Unicorn Boy, because I don't remember his name. I think it's Ira. Talking about how you expect 7 people can change fate. I think that's because he doesn't know. So from a nihilist point of view, which I borderline on nihilism, by the way, if you can't tell, one would see, a nihilist would see this as a self-defeating act to fight against fate, because fate is only going to make it worse for you as you fight harder against it. And that is something that's very important to think about. So, when we take a look, because there's parallels to be drawn between Union Cross and the Kingdom Hearts series where we're at now. You have 7 people who know a Keyblade War's Keyblade War's coming. There's nothing that can be done to prevent it. Period. Because if they don't gather the 7 Guardians of Light, the 13 Seekers of Darkness are just going to pick up the princesses and say, ah, ha, 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 we win either way. Substitutions. By the way, I don't think that's going to happen, but I'm going to save that for a later video. So, with that said, I don't think the Masters of Masters is evil. Not as a way that one would traditionally see them. And the reason why is because he's probably a little nihilist. Looking into the future is never a good thing. And when you take a look into the future, and you might even be taking a look into several futures, maybe not 14 billion, but at least a few. When you take a look into the future, you're going to see something that you're going to think is finite. The only way he could have done it differently is by writing something different in the Book of Prophecies and seeing if it turns out the same way. Now, something worthy of mention, at least in the cutscenes that we see Lusu with No Name, we never see him dematerialize it. We only see Master Xehanort and can't talk. The Masters either summon or unsummon or dematerialize, however you want to phrase it. Put it back into hammer space. No Name. And that's going to be something I might cover tomorrow or might cover in the next couple of days. But over the next 90 days, well, a little bit less because it's like 83 or 87 right now. I'm going to cover a whole bunch of topics. I'm going to cover some personal topics like why I like the series, where it stood as the games developed, how I felt about them, and some of these are just going to be me staring at a camera, talking. But I do want to say, I don't think the Masters of Masters Sora, I don't think the Masters of Masters is an evil person. I think he doesn't know what happens beyond the second Keyblade War. Well, assuming the second Keyblade War. Because I haven't seen anything concrete showing a time period between Union Cross and Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep. No one ever says, oh, it's only been 90 years since the Keyblade War. They seem to imply that it was hundreds, if not thousands of years old. And with that said, I don't think the Master of Masters, based off of the size of that book, wrote that much. I think he probably only wrote down big things, big events, the lead up to the Keyblade War #1, and what happens before what I think is when No Name breaks, or at least the all-seeing eye in No Name breaks. And we see that he's not really an evil person. Now, if I remember correctly, in one of the Famasu interviews, he said he won't be in the game, but he will be at least mentioned. And I think that's the best that they can do. And I don't think they should bring him back in unless he's going to be the villain for like 4 through 6. And then there's a whole other slew of questions that's going to be coming right out of our mouths. And, there's going to be people like me who's going to make a reaction video 2 or 3 days after the game releases going, the fuck? Was that really the ending you gave us? What was with that secret movie? So with that said, I'm going to say good day, good morning, good afternoon, and good night. Because it's going to be one of those time frames when you're watching this video. Please follow me on social media. I have a Twitter. I have a Twitch page, which right now I'm only streaming at nights because I'm working graveyard shifts again. Not something I wanted to do, but it's going to work out with school and so forth and so on. You can catch me there. Right now I'm playing through some more Destiny 2. I do have a Patreon, which will be linked down below. I have all your normal stuff. I don't have an Instagram. I only have a personal Facebook. I don't have one for my identity here. Woo, big deal. But if you want to keep up to date, follow me at Twitter, twitter.com/KewlImp. Occasionally you'll see me post some heated stuff or antagonize people, but it's all typically for advertising. I've stopped with the political stuff on Twitter. It's just not so much fun. But good day, good morning, good night, good evening, and may joy be to you all.